And you had talked about education and awareness. And I wanted to know what is the difference between the two, because to some extent it sounds very similar. If you are to do online education through the SMS, if you're telling people about something, how do you separate between education and awareness?
What are we doing if we know that the informal sector is now playing a bigger role to upgrade the economic stability of our countries? Why don't we spend much time and resources in upgrading this sector? I want the three panelists to talk about this. And again, when you look at, I read a certain narratives from Professor Nyong'o. He gave a story about what is written in the Bible, the three fishermen. These three fishermen went to fish and they came back without a catch. When they met Jesus, they poured their frustrations to him. And after a short discussion, Jesus told them, now go to the middle of the lake and cast your nets on the right side of the boat. The Bible says, they did so. And the kind of catch they caught, they have never seen. What had Jesus done? Jesus did the planning. Are we planning for the informal sector in this nation? And who is to come to plan for us? Finally, what is the higher learning institution doing to upgrade the informal sector economy? Because I've done some research with my teacher here, Dr. Kinyanjuri. And all the time when I ask the question, the student do not want to be linked with the informal sector. That's the main problem. What kind of culture should we put in place so that they can have an urge to go to the informal sector? Thank you.
Advertisements which are partial, then at the end the beneficiary could not get the full package. Therefore, all are needed, education and awareness. But if you succeed to give education, then the awareness will be part of it. Then there was another question to all. If the informal sector is providing 60% of the GDP, meaning that informal sector employ more than the formal sector, while the government do not care. That is the question. Even in the morning we were here discussing why they do not care. Why we, the higher learning institution, we do not care. Why you, the NGOs and the CBOs, you do not care. Why the member of the parliaments, they do not care. That is the question. For example, I asked the minister in Tanzania last time, we do not have a policy responsible for the informal workers. Why? That's why every phase of the government come with some instructions to informal workers. Now that question, I don't have an answer, but all of us, we are supposed to ask ourselves why we do not care. If 9 out of the 10 people in sub-Saharan Africa, directly or indirectly, are living through the informal sector. All of you here, you have the house girls in your home. Are you paying pay to them? Are you contributing to the National Social Security Fund for them? Therefore, even yourself, you are living with informal workers. Ask yourself why you do not care. That is a debate. Then, what higher learning institutions are doing to empower the informal workers or informal sectors? Borrowing an example from Tanzania, we are doing little. Not only higher learning institutions, even the primary school education. For example, if the one presenter said that most of the graduates from the primary school and secondary schools cannot go to the higher schools. Therefore, they are ending in the informal sector. Why don't we put the entrepreneurship education to the primary school, so that everybody who are coming from the primary school can go to informal sector world? All of us we are supposed to ask them. Then there is a question about the legal aspect of the informal workers. My friend, all researches around Africa, they clearly show that informal sector, particularly street vendors, are excluded by the laws of these countries. That's why they are suffering. That's why they are marginalized. Now, what we're supposed to do, we need to bring them in the law. Our laws and regulations and the bylaws should consider them. For example, in Tanzania, the municipal bylaws, those are responsible for urban planning, they say that if you want to register your business, you need to have a physical address. Now, do the street vendors have a physical address? Therefore, they can't register their business. Isn't it? Tanzania Food and Drug Authority say that if you want to sell food on the street, food vendors, we call them amantili. I don't know how we call them here in Kenya and Uganda. You need to have a water system there. You need to have a cupboard to store the utensils and others. Is it possible? Therefore, the street vendors and informal workers are legally excluded. We need to bring them to the law. The last one was about education and skills. Yeah, the informal workers, they need skills. They need skills. Not all skills, but contextualized skills. Skills that can solve their problems. But the skills are actually planned in educational systems. Through education, then they can get these skills. But much they need skills, contextualized skills, relevant skills to them. Not all the skills, relevant skills that can help them to improve their business. Thank you.
Mwisho kabla utulie.
Yes.
Hawa wafanyabiashara ama vijana wanapofanya uvumbuzi na wawewe kwenye mitandao, sheria za nchi hizi zetu zinawalinda kweli?
Yeah, ukweli, let me reply in Swahili also. Ukweli ni kwamba kuna crisis. Wako wasanii hawa wanaimba muziki, si ndivyo? Also they are falling under the informal workers. Wanalalamika hasa Tanzania kwamba I came up with a wonderful song. Then I went to a big musicians to share with him what should I correct. Then before going back home, or after 2-3 days, unasikia ule muziki tayari unapigwa kwenye radio na TV. Wanalalamika sana. I don't know about Kenya. They don't have copyright. Do they know copyright? Do the business registration and the copyright registration system consider them? Anatengeneza jiko lake jiko la mkaa, kuna mtu mmoja ametengeneza jiko, he put the stones, then connect with electricity, then you cook. Lakini because he does not have education, hajui afanyeje, then the big business take it and they use it. Then there was about the quality. Someone asked about the qualities. Yes, this is also issue which needs education. And not only the quality, but deceptives. Some of the informal traders who are selling online, particularly through Instagram, they are spam. Wanakuambia tunauza hiki kitu 10,000. Pay, lipa alafu utatumiwa kwa basi. You pay money, then the guy disappears. This is a problem which makes customers do not trust them. Lete 50,000 na kutumia, ukweli wa bidhaa haipo.
It's because we want to add our voices so that all major stakeholders, including government stakeholders, they do hear us and appreciate us as informal sector. The truth is, when you ask me whether we are brand for, I will tell you, no, we are not.
Why?
And the why question that doctor is asking me is what brings every one of us here, because our results are tangible from the informal sector. But, for example, I had a meeting the other day in Kampala where we were invited in Parliament, the Parliamentary Committee on Trade and Commerce. So there are some policies they were passing, but they could not even consider making consultations from stakeholders, informal sector, and this is an informal sector policy. But these are parliamentarians that are going to pass a policy without even consultation. So, this is what I think. We are not brand for. One reason, we don't appreciate who we are. Secondly, I think there's some advocacy that is missing. That's why I called for partnerships. If doctor is saying the informal sector to be going in this way, me I'm looking at this way, and so the coordination lacks. Now when it lacks, these guys in the informal sector or government, and they have their own objectives. Someone who is not in the Juakari cannot feel that impact of not being brand for. Because whatever they do, I think I can do away with this. Because whatever they do, they benefit themselves, but not us. Okay? Now this is the reason why when you go like to Kampala, if we have challenges in the informal sector, all the business people will come to Kasita, Uganda, and they're like, guys, our shops, rent, this and that. Can we have your voice? You'll hear us closing or even opening forcefully shops and buildings that we never built. Why? Because someone who built the shop is not feeling what I'm feeling out in the sector. So I feel we are still lacking coordination amongst us. So we are not that strong. Then doctor also wanted to answer or respond to, I think, Reverend, where he was asking about specialization in the informal sector. Just as we mentioned, there are some errors that come and go. Yes. Now, why we are embracing the digital era? You cannot do away with globalization. Okay? If Ford then was maybe a monopoly in the automotive industry, today it's no longer a monopoly. So what happens, because of globalization, you will tend to be Ford, but under Ford, you have product lines, other product lines. So that if this fails, then you have the other one compensate. With specialization, ideally, you're limiting innovation and creativity. But the moment you open up, you'll find that under Ford, you'll have a series of products that will help your trademark actually trend. So that's why when we are saying what is the problem with specialization would be okay. But why would someone, just as we mentioned, if a car is made up of different products, okay, why would someone come to Ford when in actual sense he knows at the end of the day he has got to go to Toyota to get another part because of specialization? That's why we are saying in the formal sector, can you be Ford, but put a product line for tires, put a product line for A, B, C, and D, so that someone finds it easy to come to you and get multiple products in one area.
Now, we need to study society processes, and society processes are not studied by one-time needs assessment and questionnaires. And for me, the universities have to change their approach to research and think of how they can use other different research methodologies to come up and be able to identify the Juakari itself. And we know what Juakari needs. Juakari needs space, Juakali needs recognition. Juakali is an alternative business model which competes with capitalism. And once we understand that, then we shall move on. And they know it very well when they are there. They know their relationships with the government, and that's why they sit and negotiate and deal with their own deals. Verifying results, you need to use multiple sources of data to come up with the true picture. Don't just use the questionnaire, use in-depth. Just visit there, observe, spend time there, and then come up with your platforms. But don't just go there with a needs assessment and assume that Eureka, you have got it. It takes time.
Now, there's the question Judith raised, the issue of the secretive nature of the informal sector, and then the issue of contracts. Because in the modern world, contracts are important for successful execution of sales and even purchases.
Contracts are there, and people can register businesses. There is only that, and I keep on telling Dawa that it's time they took responsibility and even created a peasant revolution in East African community, where the peasants will overthrow the elite government-led structures and come up with real people-oriented economies and all that. We cannot solve these things with the boardroom rules and discussions. What we really need is a real peasant revolution in the economy, so that we can change the government system, because they still operate. If today, I wish I knew, I would have come with the bylaw of 1928 and the bylaw, Nairobi City Council bylaw of 2007. They have not changed anything except the wording.
Is the informal sector secretive?
Yeah, it is secretive. It is very secretive. Just go to Kibera today and ask for something and you will not be told. It is very secretive. Unless you build your trust with them, they will not reveal anything to you. You have to spend time there, many years. That's when you will know them. They are very secretive.